So thank you again for joining us for the Climate Live K12 session this month. This is a video series brought to you by the Columbia Climate School for students, educators, and the public. My name is Laurel Zaimashihi, and I am the Assistant Director of K12 and Continuing Education at the Columbia Climate School, and I'm going to be one of the facilitators for today's session. So for those of you that are joining us for the first time and unfamiliar with the Columbia Climate School, we are a school that was founded in July 2020, and it's Columbia University's first new school in 25 years. It's dedicated to advancing transdisciplinary climate research and education. As a hub for innovative climate solutions, the school brings together experts from across fields to address the most pressing climate challenges of our time. The Columbia Climate School is committed to shaping future leaders to drive climate solutions forward in every sector by offering educational programs for degree-seeking students, high school students, teachers, professional learners, and the public. By equipping change makers with knowledge and skills, the Columbia Climate School empowers essential stakeholders in the fight for a just and prosperous society on a healthy planet. So what we're hoping to do with these Climate Live K12 sessions is to introduce you to all the interdisciplinary work through our scientific experts. These are monthly sessions that run throughout the academic year from November through June, and each month we focus on a certain topic, and it's directed toward a particular age range. This year, we're actually launching a special series called Young Leaders in Action that focuses on the actions and successes of young people that are leading the way in climate action and driving change in their community. And today's session is one of those as a part of the special series, Young Leaders in Action. So today's session is called Save Money, Reduce Emissions. We're going to hear from Anna Pinjwani, a young climate change maker who developed a community-focused website that breaks down the Inflation Reduction Act incentives and all the financial tricks that make going green not only the best choice environmentally, but also financially. Her project aims to help people save money while reducing emissions and empower individuals to take action on climate change through accessible resources. So I am going to hand it off to Anna now. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited for this session.
Yes, so thank you, Laurel, for that amazing introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Panjwani, and I live in Northern Virginia, around 20 or so minutes from the Washington, D.C. area. And over the summer, I had the opportunity to be in Columbia Climate School's Green Mountains program. And there I created the basis of a climate action plan after spending 2 weeks learning from experts in all sorts of climate fields. Then once I returned home, I turned my action plan into reality, and that reality is save money, reduce emissions. So for some context, the way the Green Mountains program was structured is that we spent the first 12 or 13 days listening to experts from in all sorts of different climate fields. Like we listened to Dr. Josh DeVincenzo, a professor at Columbia University, talk about climate communications. We did field work with Mrs. Um, Sandra Goldmark, and we also learned about the circular economy, and we learned about all these different fields. And then after that, this sustainability crash course, we came up with plans of our own. And during that course and then after, these are sort of the three main problems that kind of inspired my project. So first was climate change. And I think that a lot of people who tuned in today, including me, can relate to this problem and relate to caring about this problem. So we're starting to see these consequences in our everyday lives. And after being immersed in how deep these impacts truly ran, at the end of the day, I learned that it's not just the polar bears who are going to face these impacts, it's us too. We live in an ecosystem, but when that system starts to fail, it leaches from everything from our agriculture to our economies to world peace to poverty. It increases extreme weather, it leads to higher grocery bills and hotter temperatures. So every single person listening has been impacted and will be impacted by climate change. And I went into this program driven by that. But what changed over the weeks is that I actually learned the facts. And so right now I have a pie chart from Our World in Data on the screen, and what it basically tells you is that what percent of greenhouse gas emissions are each sector accountable for. And at a grand majority, it's actually 72% I'm sorry, 73.2% of global greenhouse gas emissions are actually caused by just the energy industry. That includes residential buildings, energy use in buildings, and transport, which is a pretty intimidating statistic. But what it also means is that since so much of these greenhouse gas emissions are concentrated in one sector, if we can just focus and sequester that part of emissions, then we will have solved a huge chunk of the problem, which is a really incredible fact right there. And then the second sort of problem that I realized is that a lot of the age-old core beliefs and stigmas around sustainability are actually extremely misleading. So a lot of people, including me, believe that in order to be sustainable, there needs to be sacrifice. I mean, that message has been shared everywhere, from social media to movies to neighborhood conversations. It always comes up. But while I was at the program, I learned that this is where I first learned about the Inflation Reduction Act and other green incentives, and it was a shock. So, for those of you who don't know, the Inflation Reduction Act is the greatest investment in clean energy and sustainability ever made. And what it is a piece of legislation that has created a series of tax benefits, credits, and rebates for you if you choose to go green or make energy efficient purchases. So this means, let's say, if your dishwasher breaks down, you can actually save money by purchasing an energy efficient dishwasher instead of a non. And this was shocking because for the longest time, sustainability has always been painted as a sacrifice. It's always been about what you were willing to sacrifice for your planet. So, like you can't eat this, wear that, drive there, travel over here, but that's not how it just has to be. So those efforts are definitely important, but sustainability isn't just about sacrifice. It's actually about growth. And it's about making those changes so that you can live a better life. And this isn't just in an environmental or conscious sense, it's also financially as well. And this pattern of sustainability pushing growth and pushing more innovation is a pattern that's happening and it's going to continue to happen in all sorts of sectors. So even, for example, if we look around our world right now and we look at AI, numerous companies like Microsoft are looking to renewable energy to power their homes. So they're not getting rid of AI, but by being more sustainable, they're able to grow their AI and grow past the restrictions of our old-fashioned greenhouse gas systems. So in the same way that being sustainable is helping these huge corporations grow, for you, being sustainable can help you grow your wealth. And that's something really interesting I learned and realized that that isn't really advertised a lot and pushed a lot. So that's something that my project aimed to show, that even if your climate change is not your priority, there's in a lot of cases, sustainability is still the best option financially. And then this leads me to my third kind of inspiration, which is, as we just covered in the first block, is the first kind of like barrier to using these incentives is realizing that they actually exist. But then this is where the real problem kind of kicks in, because there's a lot of different information out there and a lot of different websites and resources on all sorts of incentives, which can get very overwhelming. So let me show you just a little bit of an example of something I went through when I was trying to find some information on local incentives. So when you start looking for local incentives like in your government, the first place you're going to start is kind of looking at your government. So I live in a town in Northern Virginia called Vienna. So I'm on Google, I'm searching, okay, let's look at the town of Vienna, right? And then I do that and I get to my town's website. And then there's a lot of information and I'm looking around and I see, oh, there's a sustainability section. And that's exactly what I want. So I'm like, perfect, let me keep looking. I get there, I keep looking, and I see Solarize Vienna. So I'm trying to find, I heard that like I can save some money by going green and making green purchases, solar panels, that's all kind of along the same lines. So I keep looking further. And then I get to another page and it's telling me about this amazing program, but there's restrictions that I didn't know about, or that now I can't sign up for it. And it's a little bit complex. So I'm just going to keep looking. I click to Solarize Virginia. I go to the actual website and then I see resources, which is kind of along the lines of what I want to find. So I keep looking and then I see, okay, tax credits, energy certificates, this is perfect. But I need to know how to actually do it, how to file for them, what money they're going to be saving me. So I click it and I reach this. So this is interesting and important because it's the literal law and legislation that it comes from. And it's great information because it's straight from the source. But I'm not experienced in legal text, and I don't just have a couple of hours lying by to sit and figure out what incentive this law is even talking about, even if I'm super passionate about climate change and sustainability. And I found that that's something that a lot of us can relate to, is even if everyone here wants to help the environment, no, I mean, yeah, like nobody here wants to intentionally harm. We all want a good, safe, and thriving planet, but even if we want the best, we're passionate about climate change, not everyone has the time to sit and read through and just find one incentive. So whether you have an assignment that you have to go rush or finish, or you're in college, or you're a parent who needs to get food on the table, or you have family or work responsibilities, it's really time consuming to search and search for all these different incentives because it's scattered throughout the web. And I know that there's so many people out there who want to be sustainable, but they don't just have the time. I mean, they just don't have the time. So, my solution for this that I created, and this was my climate action plan, is it's called Save Money, Reduce Emissions. And it's a clear and concise website that gives you the information you need to save and reduce without having to spend hours finding just one incentive. And because when there's multiple sources of truth, it can be really time consuming and confusing to know where to start. And that's what SaveMoneyReduceEmissions.com does, is it tells you where to get started, and it gives you kind of like a link tree. So it's a route, and from there you can branch out and look for what can help you in your circumstance. So, and it takes really what it does is it takes all that information out there and it puts those resources at your fingertips. So whether you're looking for a car and you want to see how you could save some money getting an electric car instead of a gas car, or maybe you're like my 80-year-old neighbor whose dishwasher or heat pump just broke down and you want to figure out how to get an energy efficient one and save at the same time, but you don't have the bandwidth or time to sit and read through pages and pages of legislation. This is what that website aims to fix. So now I'm going to do a little bit of a demo of my website and show you how it works. So it's SaveMoneyReduceEmissions.com, and here we are. So first, when we get on the website, is it showing for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So when you first land on the website, it's the landing page and it's the home page. And what the homepage kind of is it's like a taste of all the different sectors of the website and what you could save. So as soon as you land, you can put in your address and or your zip code and information in the calculator to see, like off the bat, what kind of incentives are available for you. So to kind of test our calculator all together, does anyone want to, in the Q&A box, submit like a zip code to try out? Then we can test it out together.
We could test out mine. Um, let's do 07719.
Okay. 07719.
Yes.
Perfect. And what the calculator does is so you can put in whether you're a homeowner or a renter. And then once you put in your zip code, a lot of the times it will immediately go to your electric utility. But if you have a different one, you can always click other, then fill out the information, like your household income, your tax filing status, and then you can click view results. And from there, you can see all sorts of different incentives for different projects. So, like Laurel, for example, let's say Laurel's heat pump just broke down and she wants to look at a new heating system. So if she looks here, it tells her about a kind of incentive that's coming soon. Or if she wants to look at a different project like water heater, it has different categories coming soon. And then it also tells you at the top what kind of, like, what are the sort of the numbers it found. So like for Laurel, it found 8 saving programs just across 6 different projects that she could look at.
That's great.
Yeah. And then also from here, from the homepage, there's quick access to the most recent blogs being posted. And there's also some information about me and the project. And there's also a contact form if you ever have any questions or any feedback or anything like that. Always feel free to reach out. So then, once you've gotten a taste of sort of what's out there, you also have the option to explore more into financial incentives. So you can click the explore incentives, or you can go to the next page, and that brings you to this page about all the it goes much deeper into the financial incentives out there. And it covers five different areas. So, it looks at different tax credits and rebates, cash incentives for energy savings. It looks at utility company rebates, green loans, even lower maintenance costs. And like I said earlier, there's so much good information out there, but it's spread so far across the entire web, and finding it can be really hectic or confusing and very time consuming. So here you can find exactly what you want. It covers these five different incentive types that there are, and then from there you can read a little bit more about what those are. And there's also sections for helpful links to take you straight towards the best resources that are credible and have the most recent information. So instead of spending hours searching and then rushing and then it gets exhausting, instead of all of that, it's right at your fingertips what you need to do and where you can go. So let's say I'm really interested in tax credits and rebates. I can click here and I can look at the different what it is, what are different ones that are available. I can read more about state and local ones, and then I can look at helpful links. And this can bring me to the federal land page to file for them, or the different databases for the federal database for the credits that they offer. And it's then from there you already know what you're looking for, because you have the definitions and the information about it, and then you can go straight to finding what you need. And it's there for all sorts of different incentives. So then next is the products page. And these are Amazon affiliate products. And what they are is a great place to start if you just want to see what options and appliances are out there that are available and are more sustainable. So some of these are everyday products too, or bikes or humidifiers, just products that you use in your life, but they're the energy efficient versions. And if you click on them, it'll take you directly to the Amazon page to explore more. Then the next page is the blog pages. And then for me, I'm a writer. So this is the child of my baby in the website, and it's the blog section. So in the same way that not everyone, even if you're passionate, have the time to sit and find all the different incentives available, a lot of people don't always have the time to keep up to date with new programs or new changes to the laws out there, or to the Inflation Reduction Act. So this is my way of keeping you updated so that you don't have to put in the effort. And I update the blogs every 2 to 3 weeks, and it keeps you updated on what's going on and changes to how to save money and changes about how you can save money while reducing your emissions. I'm also working on creating a newsletter, which will be up shortly, and that gives you weekly updates on changes made to likewise weekly updates to changes made in the IRA, or quick deals to help you save and reduce. And at the end of the session, I'll link in a form in the chat where you can go and submit your email, and I'll add you to the newsletter once it's done. So for example, one of the blogs out there is a simple guide to solar, and it has it's all the different steps and good places to go to sign up for these different programs on how to get solar if that's something you're interested in. Also, on the website, there's an Our Mission Statement page, and at the end of this session, I invite you to take some time and read through the blog and the mission statement. And if you have any questions or any concerns or feedback, please reach out. I have a contact form in the website, and I'll also share my email at the end of the session. Now, that was the final product, and I'll link the website in the chat below. It's savemoneyreduceemissions.com, and at the end of the session, I'll link it there. And there's a lot of exciting updates to come. But through this journey of creating something like this, there's definitely been a lot of bumps and hurdles. There's been good days and bad days, and I've definitely learned a lot of key lessons for my fellow passionate environmentalists out there on how to just keep going through with these projects. So, number one, you need to be okay with being embarrassed and asking for help. Like when I first started coming up with climate action plans at the Green Mountains program, I remember I sat down with one of my facilitators, like bursting with an excitement and so ready to share all my ideas. And we went down that list and it was like, okay, here's my first idea. No, not very realistic. Here's my second one. Not really, doesn't really have an impact. Then my third one and my fourth one, and it just kept going, and there was rejection there. But then once I kind of had a conversation about it and I asked for help, and then I kept thinking, I remember one suggestion that my facilitator gave me was like, think about something that you wish you had in your community, or something that you wish you had to help the environment right now. And then once I did that, I remembered learning about the Inflation Reduction Act, and then it clicked right there. At first, I needed to kind of go through that embarrassment and rejection to get there. And I think such an important thing I've learned for anyone who wants to create a project like this is that you need to take risks and you need to put yourself out there and be okay with embarrassing yourself and be okay with being wrong. I know I sent like so many emails to people asking for advice, and some of them didn't respond. A lot of them didn't respond, actually. But the responses I did get were so valuable that it made the whole experience worth it. So, yeah, even if it embarrasses you, even if you can be rejected, always ask. And then the second learning and kind of finding I found is in any project and in life, there is no such thing as a consistent high. So if you ever see someone saying that it's always been uphill or everything's always been perfect, that's a lie. And what I mean by that is there's always going to be ups and downs. So what makes a project successful isn't that a lot of people say that you need to be consistent with a project, but that doesn't mean that it's consistently at its best. It just means that you are consistent in working on it a little bit every day or every week, trying to make small improvements. So there will be days when everything is going perfectly and you're meeting your deadlines, but there will also be days when you want to like screw your eyeballs out and you just need a bowl of mac and cheese. And that's okay, as long as you don't give up and you try again tomorrow. I mean, I can't express how much there were times when I just wanted to like doing research and I wanted to rip my hair out because it's so overwhelming and exhausting, but it's also how you spin it. So I would tell myself that I am going through this, but I'm doing this research, and then it's going to be so much convenient for other people, and I'll have achieved my goal. And that made it a much more positive experience and made it easier to go through the bad days. So you have to just believe in your project and in your purpose, and you have to stick with it through the ups and the downs. And then finally, I think a problem that a lot of people, especially me, can deal with is procrastination. So being real with you guys, it's so easy to just push anything back. And it was always because of perfection. Like I would say, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it at my best right now. So I'll just do it later. But there's two harsh realities that I kind of had to face when I learned and when I went through this and went through this journey of creating Save Money, Reduce Emissions that have really changed how I work forever. So, firstly, to move forward in a project, it does not need to be perfect, it needs to be present. It like essentially how I see it is that the success of a project is like a staircase, right? And there's a series of steps to get to the top. And sometimes to get to your next step, you have to fall and you have to fail and you have to, even if you're like falling forward and make a mistake. But if you keep thinking, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do it if I'm going to fail, or I don't want to make that mistake, then you're going to stay stuck in the same place. And that's what can happen is for days and weeks, no progress can be made because of that anxiety and fear. But the greatest antidote to anxiety, especially climate anxiety, is action. So just even if you're going to fail or mess up, or you might just move forward and you'll have taken another step in that staircase of success. And um yeah, and then also sometimes you do procrastinate. Or there are days where you don't work on it, but it's important to just start again. Like start the day fresh. Don't quit the project because it wasn't at the top of your mind for the past week and you feel guilty about that. Just keep moving forward. So, like, there were times when I thought that this was too complicated and nobody was finding it interesting. But I never would have gotten the chance to speak here if I hadn't just stuck with the project and just persisted through even through the hard times. And yeah, so please keep in touch. If you have any questions or feedback, email Anna at savemoneyreduceemissions.com or reach out on my LinkedIn at Anna Panjwani. Thank you so much for listening to the K12 session. And if you have any questions, please answer. Ask.
Thanks, Anna. That was amazing. I put the website link in the chat for folks, so you can go ahead, explore, find out what savings you can have by implementing some of these energy efficiency or emission reducing measures in your own homes or in your own lives. So go ahead, do that. And as a reminder, please use the Q&A to ask questions, but I think we can kick it off with a question.
Amazing. Anna, first of all, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom. I know I will be looking for ways to follow in your footsteps, making sustainability more accessible and being persistent and taking risks, and always looking to learn more. So thank you so much for sharing everything that you did with us and for your creation of this website so that Laurel can find out what incentives are available in New Jersey. Seriously, thank you so much for being here. I know that you have some exciting things on the horizon. You have big plans, things you're thinking about with the website. So I'm curious what's next for you.
So, there's a lot of and there's a huge timeline with the project, right? But even just looking at April, in my local area in Northern Virginia, we have a whole green expo with different climate companies and people from around the state and the northern area that can come and present that come to this expo and show what they're doing. And I'm actually presenting this project and having a table there. That's one thing. And then also just expanding the blogs, creating a team, creating just like keeping it updated and keeping it coming with the most recent information for people out there to make sure that everyone here knows how you can save and reduce at the same time.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you will have another audience to connect with about your project and to share it more widely. So I think that's a perfect thing to look forward to at the end of April. I can't wait to hear how it goes. I also, as you were going through the website, I've been on your website before, but I somehow overlooked the products page. And I'm curious if you could talk more about why you felt like that was important to include.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of when I was talking to people in my community or even in my neighborhood about why they maybe didn't choose to invest in energy efficient products, a lot of the times it goes back to the same issue where we all care, but there's just so much going on in life that it can be kind of hard to just sit down and find those products. So having that products page there is a great starting point and resource for people to kind of just see what the energy efficient options are. And if you click it, it takes you directly to Amazon. So it's super convenient. It's right there. They're Amazon affiliate products, and it's a great place to kind of get a rough idea. Again, just making it more convenient and a good starting place to being sustainable.
Are there any products or incentives or any of these mechanisms that you think are overlooked or especially important that we should all be aware of?
I think one a type of incentive that's very overlooked, and it's in my website as well under the financial incentives page where it's like the utility rebates, because a lot of times federal rebates or the federal credits like the electric vehicle credit or the solar panel credit, they're talked a lot, and there's also a lot of controversy on them, so they're a lot of times they're in the media and they're in headlines, but there's actually a lot of cash incentives too from local utilities. So I know where I live in Northern Virginia, we have Dominion Energy as our local utility, and they offer rebates for different energy programs on how if during peak energy time, you can get some money back if you sort of join their program and work on being more energy efficient with them. So I think it's really important to look beyond just the national government and look at state and even county and then especially utility rebates as well, because those are also a lot of them, even for like energy products. Like Energy Star is a website that gives cash rebates and gives you like a certain amount of dollars off on different products. Those are like easy to access as well. So it's important that like the website shows and spreads information about them.
Yeah, that's such a great one to call out because, as I'm sure you know, what I always notice is that so many of these are more available for homeowners, and that is one that's accessible for people who are renting. So it's a really great one for us all to be aware of.
Yes, definitely. And even on the calculator on the website, there's like an option for renters as well as homeowners because there's a huge amount of both in the country.
That's great. Then maybe I need to look more into that because I definitely do have that sense that, it's more accessible if you own a home. So I'll be going right to the website after this.
Perfect.
One more call out. If there are any other Q&As, feel free to put them in the Q&A box. This is your last chance to ask Anna any burning questions that you have. But if there isn't anything from the audience, I was very inspired by like watching you on this climate journey, seeing you, meeting you in the Green Mountains, and then seeing how much you have done with your climate action project in less than a year. It is incredible. And I think this is the goal of a lot of young people. They have the motivation and the drive to take a climate action project and make it a reality. But sometimes, as you mentioned, you'll hit bumps along the way and it can be really discouraging and difficult. And I know as high school students, you are all so busy. So my one question for you is for all the students out there, all of your peers, if you could give one piece of advice for someone who is just starting to work on a climate action project, what would it be?
Hmm. I think at the end of the day, especially for someone in high school, like for you and me, right? For the high schoolers listening, we have a lot of passion and a lot of excitement. And my one piece of advice would just be bold with your passion. Don't be afraid to ask for help or email other professionals you've seen. A lot of people have their like business email shared online. Email them and ask for advice or ask for resources and just be consistent in working in your project. So like do a little bit every day or a little bit every week, but just keep working on it and the ideas will keep flowing. And when things are supposed to happen, they will happen. So I think those would be my main two pieces of advice really is believe in what you're doing and that will show through when you're like brave and you ask people for advice and you ask professionals for advice. And then also um, be consistent or be consistent in continuing, like persevere with it.
Wow, that was such a beautiful way to end. I'm like getting emotional, but no, it is so true. Thank you so much, Anna, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to share this with us. We're excited to stay along on your journey with you. Folks, please, if you're interested in learning more, use that link, join the newsletter, and stay up to date with all the work that Anna and other young people are doing. And as Anna said, be bold with your passions. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for having me.